people. Welcome back to another episode of Girl, Your Brand's a Big Deal. You're here with Dr. Sade Adu, and we have another episode that's going to be absolutely phenomenal and fantastic. And we have two guests today. Yes, not one, but two, a dynamic duo, Crystal and Dr. Nicole, also known as the Sister Diamonds. And I'm super pumped and excited. I've heard good things about these ladies. And guess what? You're about to hear great things about them as well. So welcome to the Girl, Your Brand's a Big Deal podcast. How are you ladies doing today?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So excited to be here with you.
I'm excited to have you guys too. So please tell us a little bit more about this brand, the Sister Diamonds. How did you guys get started? What was the mission, the vision, and the goal? Tell us a little bit more.
So we were introduced in 2019 by a mutual friend. He was a colleague of mine and a Morehouse brother, Dr. Nicole's. At the time, I was the head of procurement for Porsche Cars North America. And Dr. Nicole was the CEO of Volition Enterprises. Yeah. And she was looking to do some business with Porsche. So he thought that we should meet based on the business, but also because he saw the connection. He was like, you sisters, y'all need to be in connection with each other. So he introduced us in mixed company. We quickly realized, I see you. Yeah, we need to talk. And we scheduled a private lunch. And I showed up in my corporate mask as head of procurement, right? And she showed up in her entrepreneur boss mask of CEO of Volition. You know, she had her own business for 16 years out here doing it for herself. And we sat down at the table and something magical happened. The mask fell off.
Mm. Yeah.
And it was magic. And before we knew it, the waiters were cleaning up around us. The restaurant had emptied out, and what was supposed to be a 1-hour business lunch had turned into, like, I felt like we moved to the upper room for a minute.
Right.
Like nobody else was there. And we had connected on so many different levels, professionally, personally. And we were like, okay, you're my sister. We are sisters.
Yeah.
And that's how our introduction happened. And then I'll let you tell them about, what was it, 6 months later we ran into each other?
6 months later, we ran into each other at a WeBank conference for women business enterprises. And so many people at this conference, hundreds of entrepreneurs there, thousands actually. We ran into each other, and then something that extended our first conversation came into play. Crystal, as the head of procurement, was like, let me introduce you to some people that I think would really benefit from your business and the services that you provide. So she literally started taking me around, introducing me to people. And as you know, when you're at a conference, you meet somebody, you have the niceties and you have the exchange, and then you go on about your business. The generosity of this woman leader, the generosity of her just being able to say, it's not about what we talk about. It's really about who we are in our character. We want women-owned businesses to thrive. Here is this woman-owned business. I believe in what she's doing. Let's walk around. Let me introduce you to people and let me let them know the services that you provide. So that connection was like, wow, we really have a like-minded spirit. And at the time, I didn't know that she was considering leaving corporate America. Had no idea because we had kept respectful distance, right? So a couple of months later, I found out that she took the leap. And when I found out that she took the leap, I was surprised. But then I felt like, here's an opportunity to do what you wish people did for you. I wish when I became an entrepreneur so many moons ago that people reached out and said, you know what? It can be a little lonely. It can be a little isolating at times, and you need community. So I wanted to extend to her what I wish I had when I became an entrepreneur, which was people being willing to be honest, collaborative, and supportive. So I reached out to her and I just told her the truth that I wanted to celebrate her. And instead of doing the proverbial, let's do lunch, let's do coffee, let's go to a restaurant, I said, I'm inviting you to come to my home because I wanted her to see who I was fully. I wanted to see who she was fully. And she said, well, what can I bring? I said, just bring flowers because pretty girls always deserve flowers. She brought flowers to my home and I made breakfast for her and emptied my calendar that day. I didn't want to feel like I had something else I had to get to. I wanted to be able to avail myself in whatever way was necessary to her as a new entrepreneur to be able to say, listen, if you want somebody to work with every once in a while, we can always go to a Starbucks. We can connect, in whatever way makes you feel supported, because that was what I wish I had. And she came over for breakfast, and I'll let you take it from there.
So every detail had love in it. She made me pineapple French toast and candied bacon and eggs with actual corn in it. I was like, fresh corn. I was like, oh, this is how we doing it. Okay. It was made with love. And we just connected. And 8 hours later, we were like, you know what? If we could bottle what just happened between the two of us and put it out into the world, it would be life-changing. And that's how Sister Diamonds was born. We named it Sister Diamonds because what we realize is Black women in particular are like diamonds. Mm-hmm. They are forged through the fire, tested through time. They've got to push their way up to the surface. They're fighting against all kinds of things that are trying to keep them beneath the surface. And then once they emerge, you know what they cut a diamond with?
Diamonds.
Another diamond.
That's it.
Only a diamond can cut a diamond, right? So what we realized is with Sister Diamonds, we come together, we pour into one another, and we help create other diamonds because diamonds are created to shine. And they only shine when the light is able to flow through them. So we have to get those inclusions out, those things that are keeping us from really shining, those things that have us focused on doing, hiding, protecting, proving, defending, that keep us from truly shining our light. And that's what Sister Diamonds does.
I love this. I want to say something about just your conversation about how you met.
Yeah.
You guys shifted the atmosphere in the room.
Oh,
yeah.
It's love. And what I love about it is Black women loving each other.
Yes.
Absolutely. We need more of this.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I feel so amazing. So I hope we can bottle this experience. And I hope you feel it as you're watching this experience happen as Black women who admired each other and you connected and just, you're like, okay, we've known each other forever and just cared and supported. We need more conversations about this and more representations about this in media. And I know we're going to talk about media because it's a part of what you guys do. But one thing that you talked about that stood out says when you connected, the mask fell off. So let's talk about that mask. What's that?
Oh my goodness. So we have something in our community that we even call the wiggle. And everybody laughs because they're like, oh, here's the wiggle. Where we say, put your hand in front of your face and wiggle, wiggle. Take the mask off and put it on your desk or put it on your seat, put it next to you. And because we know high achieving women often have more than one, because you feel you have to, we say, do it again. Get those 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 masks off and put it next to you. You won't need that in connection with us because we believe that the safety and the security comes from helping women unbind and unleash their ultimate potential in business and relationships because it's the whole woman. It's the relationship with your creator. It's the relationship with yourself. It's the relationship with others that really grows you and helps you in business and helps you embrace the now so that you can move forward in a way that's in peace, not in pieces. And when you don't have a mask on, you really can feel what you're supposed to feel. You can connect heart to heart. There's so many things that the mask prevents. And we've been taught you have to wear one, right? I'm not being funny, but I remember being a little girl and my mom was like, you got to sleep in your bra. I was like, every day? She was like, every day, she's Caribbean. She said, you have to sleep in your bra. And the mask becomes proverbially the same thing. You sleep in it, you go to work in it, go to church in it, you play in it, and before you know it, you don't know where it ends and you begin. So what we say is take it off. So whatever's supposed to be poured into you and whatever connection and community you're supposed to be a part of, they get your being, not just what you can do.
They get your being.
Yes.
And not what you can just do.
Yeah.
So after this mask came off and you guys decided to partner, what was the original vision of Sister Diamonds?
Yeah.
Well, the original vision was to do an event for women. We were looking at women our age and, that had achieved a lot of things, but were looking for a purpose. Like, where who are at the stage was like, God, I appreciate everything that I've done and that you've done for me and through me, but I feel like I'm being called for more. Right. Mm-hmm. And so we were going to do a conference and we were just about to sign the contracts when the pandemic happened. So we had to pull back. And so we said, okay, God, this is intentional. What is the pivot you want us to make? Just like everybody else around the world, we decided we needed to pivot. And we were like, we're still going to do it. Let's figure out how we can do it virtually. And at the time, Dr. Nicole is a adjunct professor at Spelman. Mm-hmm. Her students were going through a lot of disruption. They're being sent home with the pandemic. A lot of them had internships they couldn't go to. So they were feeling, down, depressed, a lot of trauma, disconnected. And so we said, well, while we pivot and figure this thing out, let's do something for them. We brought together 50 of them and said, how can we support you and serve you in this moment? What would you like for us to do? What would inspire you? Take the brakes off, take the limits off, dream big, and we will personally support it and guide you. And that's how the International Slumber Party was formed. So the International Slumber Party in 45 days, with those 50 students and some amazing friends that we connected with to mentor them, we brought together 10,000 young women of color from all over the world. The first year was how many?
39 countries
the first year.
Yeah.
And literally within 6 months of us partnering, we were on Good Morning America. We got picked up by 267 media news outlets. We were able to secure the television show, put a ring on it on the Oprah Winfrey Network, where Dr. Nicole was the host. We launched the International Slumber Party, 10,000 young women of color from 39 countries.
Over 80 million impressions. It affirmed what we knew, which was we were pretty amazing individually in the world. We had both, done some amazing things in the corporate arena, in the entrepreneurial space. We had integrity in our communities, so we had a lot of connections and good networks, and we were being true to ourselves. But when we came together, it was like her light didn't dim mine, my light didn't dim hers. What it did was it came together as a greater, more brilliant force to create more light and more of a path for those who needed it to see it. And we were like, wow, this is exponentially bigger, greater, juicier than anything we could have thought of. And that's when we came up with the word yummy, because we were like, God, this is so yummy. We've not been to 39 countries, but we've got young women from 39 countries coming in and saying, teach me. I want to be engaged. I want to learn. I want to know. I want to see so I can expand my options. We were like, this is so yummy. And we thought yummy was a word. And then what God showed us was yummy was an acronym. One day, Crystal came and said, sis, I think yummy is an acronym. I said, okay. She said, your ultimate most, and I said, meaningful yet. Your ultimate most meaningful yet. And we just started screaming because we were like, that's it. Because what we recognized was we were experiencing it. There were good things that we could do, and there were great things that we did individually. But when we came together, we accessed something that was our ultimate, most meaningful yet, that we really recognize respectfully, we couldn't do it apart. It was the collectivism. It was the illumination of our light in service to others that made the difference.
Woo. Okay, so I'm going to need you guys to just pause this episode and process what just happened. And I know someone's probably watching this and you're thinking about how you're supposed to be doing all the things by yourself. And this is your sign. This is your calling. This is your, God, tell me what to do next. This is you're on notice.
Yeah.
That you need to be partnering. And I'm so glad that you guys are we're having this conversation in this season.
Yeah.
Because I'll share an example of that. The pandemic, I've been trying to host an international retreat for 4 years. Put deposits down. 2019, December, put a deposit down. And of course, 3 months later, I was getting that deposit back.
Yeah.
Then I tried again. And then this first time I said, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this by myself. So now, as we're recording this, I have a partner and we're doing a retreat in Dubai.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I have another partner and we're planning a retreat in Ghana. And what I realized about this moment was the reason it didn't work out was because I thought I had to do it myself. Or it's supposed to be me, me, and me.
Yeah.
When it really was supposed to be a we.
Yes.
Let me tell you something,
Yes.
Dr. Sade. Anybody who's hearing this and you're feeling some confirmation in your soul, right? One thing you need to know going into this partnership thing is ego. Ego comes to kill, steal, and destroy.
Sure does.
Ego is something that you have to put in the back pocket to come into partnership. Ego is what tells us we have to do it all by ourselves. Ego is what tells us if somebody else is standing next to you that you're not as important or you're not able to shine, right? What we learn coming together is putting that ego aside and showing up vulnerably is the power. Because when you show up with vulnerability and authenticity and you put ego in the backpack, then it's just like what Dr. Nicole said. You learn that my light does not dim your light and your light does not dim my light. But it's only together in illumination and collectivism that we can shine even brighter.
Yeah.
We can serve even more people because we bring the collective brilliance together, right? You can do it by yourself. You can. You absolutely can. But you can do, if you want to go, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, right?
Absolutely.
It's absolute power in working together to serve.
Yeah.
How do you maintain the balance of your different expertise and skill set and opinions? Because how do you mitigate conflict or challenges in a partnership?
We don't compete
At all.
We don't compete, period. We don't compete. We recognize that our light is so bright and brilliant that first of all, sometimes it does make people squint a little bit because they're not used to all of that illumination in one space. And we usually have shades that will say, here, put these on. It's okay. Because we shine these lights together. And I say that in a joke, but it's really true because sometimes they're used to one light, so they want it to be one light because that's what they're used to. And we have to say, put the shades on so that you can deal with the brilliance of both, because we are on a mission and on assignment, and where we're going and how we're going, it takes both of us to illuminate enough space for people to see where the road is. And it doesn't take people long to figure out, wow, the two of them together is mighty, it's powerful, and it's acceleration. Because what we say to people in our community, our Yummy method talks about liberating your mind so that you can move in action. And that brings forth acceleration. The first year we did the International Slumber Party, we were, like Crystal said, on Good Morning America, and God just opened up a wind that just blew in our direction. 39 countries. The second year, 100 countries. So recognizing the vision and the assignment and being able to say, girl, this too big for one person. We are helping women around the globe. Something that Crystal said today in a conversation is lighthouses. We are helping women unbind their unlimited potential so that they can be a lighthouse. But lighthouses from 18 to 34 in the International Slumber Party, and then 35 up in our Sister Diamond's conversation, makes for generational legacy. It makes for opportunity. It makes for options. It makes for networking. It makes for community and acceleration. So in not competing, but always looking out for the greater good of us and we, that's been the game changer.
It's honoring one another to the point where, we have to retrain people.
Yes, absolutely.
When we had the show on Oprah Winfrey Network, Dr. Nicole was the host, right? So people would, want to, Dr. Nicole, come, Crystal, you, right? In business spaces where I'm more well known, people want to, Crystal, you come, Dr. Nicole, you. And we fiercely protect one another in those spaces. We're not going to allow, nobody puts baby in the corner. Ever. Dr. Nicole was like, no, sis, come. And I do the same for her. Like we understand that you don't know. We understand that you're only used to seeing one at the top. We understand you think there's only room for one at the top.
Yeah.
But that's not how we roll. And if you want Dr. Nicole, you want Crystal. If you want Crystal, you want Dr. Nicole.
Yeah.
Because what God has given us, he gave us. And he gave it to us. We say this all the time because the women we serve are so brilliant. It took two, not just one.
They need an Aaron and an Ur. We got, they need both sides to help with defenses, to help with hiding, to help with boundaries, to help with vulnerability. All of the things that are going to accelerate them to be their highest and best self. It needs more than one. And the beauty of it, people are like, was that difficult? No, It's quite easy because when you have a brilliant business partner who you respect and admire, you want to show up together. And if at any point, diamond down, you know that it's taken care of. Is handled. So when we had our show on the Oprah Winfrey Network and I was on set, she was taking care of the business because both needed to be taken care of. If she's on a mission trip in South Africa, I'm taking care of the business because both need to be taken care of. So the opportunity to do this journey together and show other women how to do it, it's been life-changing.
Absolutely.
I love it. So what are some of these topics that you guys talk about during this international slumber party?
Oh, wow.
What are we talking about when we got our PJs on? Our minds want to know.
Oh, number one, this is the third slumber party. March 8th, 2024 will be our third international slumber party. We originally created the mansion. We have the slumber party in a mansion, okay?
Because we should.
Because we should. The original mansion were online, and it wasn't just a Zoom experience because the girls told us we don't just want to be on Zoom. We want something that represents us. We want to see something that is for us, by us, right? So we created this 2D mansion online for year 1 and 2. And behind every door was amazing content. We talked about relationships, business,
leadership,
spirituality, leadership, body
positivity,
body positivity, all those things that matter to young women of color, right? Between the ages of 18 and 34. This year, we're taking the conversation into the metaverse. We have created an amazing mansion in the metaverse. On all the walls are Black women of color that we are honoring. throughout history for doing amazing things around the world. So in your avatar skin, you can walk through the house, you can meet other young women from around the world, have a conversation with them, you can connect with them in this space, and you can join either from your glasses, from your phone, or from your computer. We can all be in this space. There's quests where you can learn more about different topics that matter to you, the relationships, the business, etc. And it is your space. It is your space. We can bring speakers into the space. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's nothing else like that exists today.
Yeah. It's an ode to Black women. It is our love letter to young Black women by Black women. In a space, and some of the corporate sponsors that support us, they know the value of helping young women see their options through other women. So being able to have live events in the mansion, being able to offer products and downloads and assessments and opportunities for a girl in Trinidad to meet a young lady in Finland, to meet a young lady in Botswana, to sit down and remove the geographic boundaries and then remove the obstacles, because the International Slumber Party is free.
It's free.
It costs women and corporations to create this opportunity, but for the young woman who attends, there is no obstacle. The obstacle is, can you bring your full presence to an opportunity that will pour into you? And if that's not an obstacle, then you are free to come and just experience the beauty of the International Slumber Party Mansion.
So you're able to make this opportunity free to girls and women around the world. And you said you have these corporate partners. How did you get connected with them? And how did you get them to buy into your vision? Because the metaverse is still a new concept.
Yes.
Doing things in the metaverse. You said you got your portraits, and I'm quite familiar with people who work in the metaverse. Or some of you might be like, what is the metaverse and what are they talking about?
Yeah.
I would equate it to Sims. If you've seen the Sims game.
Yeah, that's good.
Have an avatar.
Yep.
And there's experiences and communities and worlds inside of the metaverse. So how did you get them to buy into this somewhat abstract concept?
Mm-hmm.
So initially it really was about relationship.
Absolutely.
When we first had the vision and the girls said what they wanted to do, Dr. Nicole and I were putting our own money in and we were supporting them. And then we realized, God, this is bigger than us. So we started making some phone calls. My former company, Porsche, they invested in Chick-fil-A and Home Depot, and some amazing companies said, we want to be a part of it. And so, relationships are always going to be your first point of connection when you want people to sponsor you. We also have reached out to women in our circle, other Black women who've achieved amazing things, and said, come be a free woman builder with us. We want to put you on the wall too. We want to acknowledge what you've done, or we want to honor your mom or your grandmother, right? Yeah. So by sponsoring and helping us to create this space, we are also creating a generational legacy for you in the metaverse. It's another world, right?
Yeah.
And so we want these young women to not only learn about women in history, but learn about the ones that are today out here on the front lines.
Yes.
Opening doors for you so that when you get to this space, it's going to be a little easier because they endured the hardship. They pushed up against the racism, the challenges in corporate America, all those things, right? We want to honor you today, not when you're gone.
Yeah. And it really speaks to the understanding that we have that free women, free women. So when we get women that reach out and say, I heard about the Free Women Builder campaign, how can I be involved? We're like, absolutely. Because there's something powerful about young women recognizing that more seasoned women are investing in them. We're not just saying you stand on tall shoulders, and the sisters and women who've passed on, we respect, we revere, and we do stand on their shoulders. There's a benefit and a beauty of saying, and the ones that are still here, we lend our shoulder to your experience. So you've got those who've gone before and you've got us. And our bodies are pressed up against the door for you to be able to get through. So go. We got it. We're holding it back so that you can go. There's something that says to a young woman, I am enough, when other women see her.
Our reoccurring theme today has been about relationships.
Yeah.
How you develop your relationship with each other, corporate relationships, with relationships between and amongst other women. So let's talk about the topic I don't want to talk about. Romantic relationships.
We love that topic.
Yeah. Talk about it. I'm going to let you guys talk about it. I'm pretty sure that's one of the slumber party conversations. Yeah. And if we're serving and talking to women, we are unmasking women. Part of our journey in this world is romantic relationships. So let's dig right in. Where you want to begin?
You know, one of the things that we talk about is the total relationship. So in our brand, we're very clear that the same tools, and sometimes this is hard for us to recognize, the same tools that you need to use to rise up the corporate ladder or to create a scalable business, those are some of the same tools you got to use with your kids. Those are the same tools you got to use romantically. It's about making sure that the tool works in the different aspects where it needs to be worked, right? So a job that has no boundaries, not exactly the most positive experience. A romantic relationship that has no boundaries, same thing. But what we say is you create boundaries, not walls. There's a difference. And you have to maintain them. So what we teach women in the International Slumber Party and the women that we work with is it's not that you need all the tools. Child, I'm starting from the beginning. I don't have anything in my toolbox. You sometimes compartmentalize that, you know, this works on my job, but this is not going to work over here in this relationship. And we say, well, the hammer is a hammer. It's got utilization. But over here, you need a little bit of a tap, not a bringing it down. It's just a little tap. Right? Whereas over there, you're using the other side to pull nails out. It's got all of these wonderful utilizations. But if you only think it's got one way to work, then you use it that way everywhere. And that's where we go into problems. So we talk about the critical tools that will help your romantic relationship and other relationships to thrive.
And in romance, it all starts with you.
Yep.
It all starts with you. For those of you who watched Put a Ring on It, one thing you'll notice in that show is the couples would show up and they was like, we could be married by now if you could fix her. Or if you could fix him, right? And that's what we see when we work with couples. It's always, you're viewing the relationship from the lens of if the other person would just do what I need them to do, if they would just comply. And truthfully, it's about you. So the couples would show up focused on the other person. But by the end of the show, Dr. Nicole would take the mirror and put it in their face. And they would realize, right? I've attracted somebody that is feeding my trauma. I've attracted someone who is in the physical treating me the way I treat myself in the mental. Right? They are mirroring what I'm doing in myself.
Yeah.
And they start to realize that it starts with me. Why did I choose this relationship? Or why am I sabotaging this relationship? Because sometimes it can be something good, but you don't feel like you deserve that good.
Yep.
So you sabotage it. So it starts with you. And in everything that we do, we help people to really see themselves, unpack all of the things that are sabotaging you from getting to your yummy.
So what advice do you have for the ladies out there Who are the single ladies? They're uncoupled right now and they want to put a ring on. They want someone to eventually put a ring on it. Maybe it's me, maybe it's somebody else. Okay. If you're watching, hey, I'm single as of the taping of this. Might be different after that, but right now. So as someone who is, and I get this, and I have this conversation a lot. Definitely, we've had this conversation with extremely successful Black women in their 30s, mid 30s, 40s. We got all the degrees. We did all the things that they told us to do. And now we're in this part of our lives where we want to settle down. We want to be married. We want to have children. What are some things that we need to be focusing on or talking about or doing in this part of our lives?
One of the things is speak truth to power. So you don't want someone.
Oh, the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? Which means working on the right one first. Right? And a lot of us don't want to hear that. But here's what happens. When we don't work on the right one, we attract someone. But the someone is the wrong one. And then the more we're in it, we're like, how did I get here? How you got here is you didn't work on the right one and you attracted someone. And now you're like, how do I get out of this? Now a year has passed. A year and a half has passed. 2 years have passed. And now you're saying, but I don't want to start over. But I'm not with the right one. And I'm not with the right one. This is all wrong. So we say, let's skip that. Let's re-engineer the conversation. Let's talk about spiritual connection. Let's talk about wholeness, which means I'm not hiding my wounds. I'm working on my wounds. I'm not trying to protect an ego and an image that's not going to serve me. I'm killing the ego and I'm being without a mask so that whoever I date has met me. It ain't good English, but I can date somebody for a year and a half and they've never met me. And then in 2 years, that person shows up and says, Crystal, Dr. Nicole, shouldn't we be getting engaged? And we say, well, have they met you? We've been dating for 2 years. Duly noted. Have they met you? Have you met them? And it makes people upset because if you haven't met each other, that clock of 2 years doesn't start till you meet. Ooh. Right? So it's these real critical conversations that say, you're trying to prove who you are. You are enough. You are living and growing and breathing every day. Your growing doesn't stop until you die, or unless you are intentional, you don't want to grow. So where you are right now, it is enough. And tomorrow you will grow beyond today. But today, what are you working on to be? Not to prove to everybody that you could fix their credit. Not to prove that you could be a good girlfriend. Not to prove that you're the one. But to just be. So these are the things that we talk about and we advise because we know what it does is it gives you the opportunity to work on you. So that who is supposed to see you, not your wounds, not your drama, not all your baggage, because you're leaving, that behind. They see you and they're like, wow, that's sexy. You're amazing. And you're able to say, absolutely an amazing work in progress, perfectly imperfect. But let's see if you deserve some of my time. And I deserve some of yours. It's now reciprocity, not save me.
Ooh. That whole I am enough conversation is so powerful because the want list is a trick of the enemy and the ego.
Yeah.
Because the want list says I don't have. And we all know that God has made us perfectly perfect, right? We are perfect. We have everything that we need in this moment, but we are so focused on what we want or what happened in the past, on the future or the past, that we can't enjoy the now, right? And so we have these long lists. You see it all on social media. He got to take you to the right restaurant. He's got to make the right amount of money. He's got to have this. He's got to have
Gotta have the right car.
Right. If you write down all those wants, right? And then go back and make it an I am statement, it completely changes.
We might need to run that back.
Yeah.
I want.
Turn all
I
those
am.
I wants
Into I am.
I am. Game changing.
Mm-hmm.
Game changing. Because we attract who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so we want this other person to have all these things that really don't matter in the end. They really don't. They really don't. Doesn't matter. So what? He's got a nice car. So what? He's got a good job. All those things. If he doesn't respect you and honor you and treat you the way that God loves you, the way that God treats you, then what difference does it make? Right? So when we put in the I am, put it in the I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
I am loved. I am joy. I am peace. I have what I need. Right? And you focus on the you, that light just starts to shine brighter. And at the end of the day, it's about exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are walking around saying what we want and we looking for a man and we're in hiding. And our light, God gave you a 150 watt light bulb internally and you shining at 10%.
Ooh. Yep.
So you walking around talking about what you want, but nobody can see you. You've got on 20 masks. You're hiding, protecting, proving, and defending. And if you just focus on the I am and turn that light bulb out, what'll happen is people start saying, who is that?
Yeah.
From across the room. Men, who is, they see you walking across the room because your light is shining.
Yeah. We talk about energy being transferable all the time. So when your light is shining, don't be afraid of darkness. When your light is shining and you are in that I am-ness, it runs.
It can't be in the same space.
It sees you and it runs. So that now is a wonderful opportunity for other light to be attracted to you. But when you're afraid and you're wearing all the masks and you got on a body girdle of armor and you're like, nobody's going to do this to me again. And you can't trust anybody. And I got walls everywhere. I got walls upon walls and then some more walls. Well, the more walls you have, the more you attract people who like to scale walls. They like to scale walls. So they're looking at those walls and they're saying, challenge, right? Versus having boundaries, which we talk about being in Atlanta and 285 is our freeway that goes around the perimeter. We're like, you want guides. You want those lines like you have on the freeway. You want the sign that says, what's the speed limit? You want to show people how to successfully navigate your freeway because you want people to be in good, healthy, yummy relationship with you. So it's not about the obstacle course and the walls to see if you can scale them. It's about being able to give people guides to see, can they follow instructions? Are they a rule breaker? Do they just like 65 is the speed limit, but they want to go 85 backwards, challenging whether or not they'll get into a collision? Or is the person saying, oh, wow, 65, okay, solid lines, dotted lines, all right, indicator, let me put my indicator on so I can change lanes, or do I want to change 6 lanes at one time? And taking the time in your I amness to see, where are they? How do they move? How do they have their being? And do they respect what you value? And are you able to respect what they value? Because it's both and. That changes the dating conversation immensely.
Who are they without their mask? Because when you learn to take yours off and you sitting there talking to somebody with a whole bunch of masks on, you can see it.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
I need to know who you are without the mask. And a lot of times we don't take the time to do that.
No. We are rushing. We are running. And then Crystal and I talk about, what's your bait, sis? What's your bait? If you keep catching frogs. And you keep catching catfish, but you tell everybody you want a bass, but you catching catfish. Shift and change the bait, which means...
Or change the body of
water. Yeah.
Okay, what's the new body of water we need to fish in? I'm asking for y'all.
Well, for example, you want to catch a bass, But all of your pictures on the dating sites, and listen, we are clear how people are meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal talked about exposure. You're not going to meet Boaz sitting down watching Netflix every waking hour where you're not at work. That's not how it works. Unless he's the mailman, right? He come to your house, so he's the UPS man.
They are
coming
making
to your house, or the people delivering your groceries. So if exposure is part of the conversation, you want to bask, but every picture of you shows everything that you don't want to attract. Now, when all the catfish come asking you to send them pictures showing your breasts, send them pictures showing other parts of the male anatomy, etc., etc., you're like, I just don't understand this. I don't understand why are they all wanting me to do X, Y, and Z? Well, your bait is saying, I don't want to talk. I don't want to really connect. I don't want to know who you are and whose you are. I'm doing something different. And your bait is catching catfish.
What is your bait?
Mm-hmm.
And this other nugget about time, that's another conversation we see a lot on the internet. Like, oh, you've been around for how many years? But maybe some of those years, they were both strangers to each other.
Yeah.
And it took some time to actually get to know each other. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that conversation. And ladies who are in waiting or who need some more exposure, I hope that's your sign. Get out there, okay?
Yeah.
Be outside if you want to be seen. But
be outside.
and maybe fish in some new oceans, swim somewhere else.
Tell some people you respect that you're looking for someone.
Yeah.
Tell some people that's a different ocean, right? You know some men that you respect, but you know, maybe they're your friend's husband or, you know, a brother or a cousin, right? But you respect them. You like the way they move, right? Because though just like us women, good men move in packs too.
Yes,
right?
they do.
So if you know a man that you respect, say, hey, bro, I am in the space. I'm taking eligible
gentlemen callers.
And I'm not playing no games.
Yeah.
So if you know any good men,
I'd like to do coffee.
I'd love to do coffee and meet with them. If you could make an introduction. That's a whole different body of water.
Can you say this script one more again? Let's say this. Okay, we're going to practice the camera.
I am looking for eligible gentlemen callers.
I'm entertaining.
Eligible gentlemen callers. Okay, now we got to
So if you've got some nice men, I just like to have coffee. Can you make an introduction?
Can I have a smoothie? I like smoothies.
Yes, absolutely.
Smoothie, yes.
Smoothie.
Something that just allows.
No pressure.
Hello.
Yeah.
Just a hello.
No pressure.
And you know, people are like, well, you know, what if? There is no what if. It's just today. It's just coffee. It's just a smoothie. It's just a bagel. You know, it's just a moment.
If they are truly a good person, you're just expanding your network,
That's
even if they're not your person. Every good man is not your good man, right? Ooh. But it's good to have a whole lot of good men in your network.
Because that energy brings energy.
What?
Male energy?
Good male energy.
Brings good male energy.
And dating is collecting data.
Yeah.
So even if he's not your good man, you are sure to collect some good data.
That's it.
To help prepare you for your good man.
Well, this is getting juicy.
Yeah.
I love it. So I know these ladies who they're working on their relationships, but they're also building their businesses. What feedback or advice do you have about balancing the two, wanting to be open for love, but also balancing growing a business and building their brand?
You know, we coach women a lot. It's one of the things that we really love about our business and our programs and the exposure that we're able to help them connect with, to be liberated in their mindset to create these amazing, accelerated, prosperous businesses. But one of the things that we talk about in reference to balance is creating community that helps you to see when you are off balance. Because sometimes what happens, we all as human beings like to do what we think we're winning at, right? So if you feel like you're winning at your business, you want to spend a whole lot of time there. Or if you feel like your business needs more of you, you spend a whole lot of time there. And if you don't believe you're winning in relationships, you don't want to spend a lot of time there, right? But if you don't practice the muscles that are going to help you move in that space of dating and relationships, it atrophies. And then it is not as easy to bounce back and now get in the game. So one of the things that we say about balance, who's your team? Who is your team? You have therapists, you got coaches, you've got mentors, do you have sponsors? Do you have
good friends?
Good friends? Do you have accountability partners to help you make sure that you are doing your due diligence in all relationships in your life?
And showing up whole in all those spaces, right? So often we are in pieces, not peace. So this piece of me is needed to build my business, and I show up. I put this mask on when I'm doing business, and this piece of me is needed to find a man or to be in a relationship, and so I put this mask on when I am doing that, and this piece of me is needed when I'm dealing with my friends and my family. So I go in my bag and I get that mask. What would it look like if you didn't have all those masks and you showed up whole in all of those spaces? You were authentic, you're whole, and you showed up like that in all of those spaces. So no need to go in the bag for the mask in different scenarios. Just be you. Just be you. What would you attract differently, right? How would you show up in those spaces differently? It's a game changer.
Yeah. And it's recognizing that it takes a lot to manage all those masks.
They're heavy.
They're heavy. They require a certain level of inauthenticity to be with whoever you put that mask on for. So sometimes in working on us first, it's being able to say, wow, my family doesn't even know me like that. They know me as the doer. Call her for the funeral. Call her to create the eulogy. Call her for the family reunion. Call her for your weed. Call her if your car is being repoed. Call her if your foreclosed house needs help. But they don't know you. They know what you can do. So part of working on you so that you can have a little bit more balance, if that's what we want to call it. That's a whole nother conversation. But having a little bit more so where you're not feeling like you're going to tip over is helping them to unlearn that your value is just in what you can do.
Oh, because so often we show up in a romantic relationship with the boss mask on.
So we going to fix you.
Yeah, because we forget we have it on. So we've been boss all day. We've been entrepreneur, boss chick, right? All day. That mask has been on. And then we forget to take it off on the way home. We show up and we are boss in that relationship, right? Instead of being your authentic self without the mask.
The soft.
Or you are in your family, you are Olivia Pope. You got an Olivia Pope mask on. You're the fixer.
The fixer.
Right?
Yeah.
You're the fixer. So then you show up in relationship, you meet somebody and you still have that fixer mask on. So he's talking to you and instead of you listening, right? You are in your mind figuring out how I can fix this for you. I can help you fix your credit. I can build your business. I can help you with your child support. I can help da. And then the worst thing in the world is when things don't turn out the way you thought it should turn out. And you're like, but I did such and such and such. And they're like, ain't nobody asked you to do all that.
Clutch the pearls.
What? That's you. I didn't ask you to do all that. Yeah. You jumped in and tried to fix my life. You want to be a Yamla. Right? But it's because we have all these masks on that we forget. We go into different scenarios, moving in and out of relationships, and sometimes we forget to take those masks off. Start your day without one.
And see what that feels like. It is such a weight-free practice that after a while, you start to really recognize the difference with the mask and without it. Mm-hmm. And that's when you get the choice. Do you want to move in peace? Or do you still want to move in pieces in these fragments? And what we recognize is often when we're wearing these masks, there comes a point where the resentment sets in because you're like, dang, nobody sees me. Like I do all this stuff. They don't see me. They see what I could do. They don't even worry about me. And they'll tell you, you'll have that mom that'll say to that wonderful young lady who's doing it, I don't even worry about you. Mm-hmm. Now, your brothers and sisters, I pray for them daily and worry about them. I mean, I pray for you, but I know you're going to be all right.
You always bounce back.
You bounce back.
You're my good child.
And you start to say, but what is that? Well, you've got so many masks and they're perfected. Mm-hmm. They don't see you because you don't show you.
All they see is the mask.
All they see is the mask. And so many people would so appreciate being able to see you, know that it is you. And they're not trying to harm you. They're trying to connect. But the mask makes it impossible to connect. So what they experience is your head, but they never quite get to your heart.
So you gotta say, allow me to reintroduce
myself. Yes, I love that.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. This conversation has been absolutely amazing. I'm so happy that you guys decided to join us for today's episode of Girl, Your Brand's a Big Deal.
Yes.
Now, my question as we come to a close is, what's next for the Sister Diamonds? What's next?
We're in it right now. We have such a clear vision, but every day we are working on the now. We want to experience 1 million lighthouses, right? But we recognize the way to get there is to be fully present in today, to be fully present in our now, to move in the space and understanding of power and brilliance and some of what we talked about, that, we're not at a deficit or in need of anything. We're probably more powerful than we've ever been because we've checked the ego. We're clear on where we're going, and we're calling God on the promises of today to get us there. Yeah. 1 million.
1 million lighthouses. Light begets light.
Yes.
How can we stay connected to you?
CrystalAndDrNicole.com is our website, and we are on all social media as CrystalAndDrNicole.com. I'm Crystal at Crystal Khalil, and she's at Ask Dr. Nicole for our individual pages. But everything is at CrystalAndDrNicole, drnicole.com.
Yeah.
And our last question of the day is, ladies, please tell us why your brand's a big deal. So you're going to introduce yourself and you're going to tell us why your brand's a big deal. Look in your camera.
I'm Crystal Khalil, and our brand is a big deal because we are building a community of lighthouses. SisterDiamonds.com.
Our brand is a big deal. My name is Dr. Nicole LaBeach, and it's a big deal because of what she just said.
That part. On that note, I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Nicole and Crystal, for being here at the Sister Diamonds. This was a phenomenal episode. And ladies and gents, we will see you in the next episode of Girl, Your Brand's a Big Deal podcast. Have a great day. Peace out, beautiful people, and be the light.